another episode of The Last 7, a Newport-based podcast, a not-so-philosophical wax regarding the last 7 days. I am joined this evening by Antonio Romola.
Hello.
And Kenneth Trainer.
Good evening.
I'm going to start off with an apology to the creators of Terminator Genesis from last week.
Really?
Panned. Completely panned, right? And I said...
The trailer, not the film. We haven't seen it.
I know, yeah. But we had a real go at it, me especially, and I was wittering on and saying, I've got a lot invested in this fucking franchise, man.
Yeah, he's watched the other films.
Yeah. And because of that, I should have known that they don't build a time machine. Or it's not alluded to that they build a time machine. In the first one, when Carl Reese is arrested and he's giving the interview to Dr. Soberman, and it starts with, and that's where you found the time displacement equipment. Right. He said, yeah. And then he asks him, why didn't he just kill John Connor then? Why this elaborate plan? And then Carl Reese says their defense grid was smashed. We'd won. Killing Connor then would make no difference. So the machines make the time machine. I imagine that we'll see a bit. Well, what I want to happen now that I've thought of that is a big battle scene where they run in, kill loads of them, and then they find this fucking time machine, but they already see just like the arse of the first Terminator going through it. I wonder, would they already know? Because in this timeline, John Connor has had Carl Reese. Well, he has to have because it's his dad. Spoiler alert. And the Terminator, he's already known the T-800 Arnie from the second one. So are they just going towards building a time machine? They know they have to do it to send Carl Reese back?
I know that's the difficulty with the film, because you think... No, because if that works, yeah? But if that's the case, why aren't the machines trying to kill Kyle Reese in their present?
Yeah.
You see what I mean? Before he... Because they don't have to... In the end, they don't really have to build the time machine, because they could just...
That's right, yeah.
In fact, by not building the time machine, they win. The machines just didn't bother.
Yeah, they're doing it like really half-assed, seeing how the future plays out. But I think we have to allow that if we start the film in the future, then that's where we have to start. That's where we have to start our thinking. But then, of course, when he gets back to the past, it's a different timeline anyway, because Sarah Connor's there to meet Kyle. God, it's a fucking mess. I think they went too mental with Rise of the Machines by doing it right back in time again, and making a Terminator that's now female. And remember what the T-1000 couldn't do? Now it can, and it's got boobies. So the perfect weapon. So what they did with Salvation in rebooting the franchise, I think it was to bring you the war with the machines, because you saw it only at the beginning of the first two films.
Yeah.
The big. Like the airborne machines, and what you then see in Salvation are like people harvesters, and who doesn't like a sort of a post-apocalyptic scene? You get some of the greatest sort of wide shots in those films.
Yeah, I love them.
Damn straight you do. Can't wait for the end of the world, can you, Ken?
Well, yeah, I could, but in a weird way, this is going to sound stupid, and obvious. I would quite like to survive, because I would like to see stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I don't think it sounds weird.
Yeah, I'd be fucked though. I'd be rubbish at surviving. I'd end up, I don't know. I'd be one of those people that would get like some minor complaint would kill me. Do you know what I mean?
Ingrown toenail.
Something like that. Yeah, that typically you'd be fine. Like, if I'd had this a year ago, I wouldn't have cared about it. Do you know what I mean? It would have been a minor inconvenience. Whereas now, I'm like on my deathbed in a decaying city. The animals have escaped the zoo, and so there's a rhino. And
I think one of the first things that people would do is break into shops and get all the things they need to survive.
Looting.
Yeah, but how long does that last though?
Well, go around all the shops and
looting? Yeah.
It can last for as long as there's enough. It lasts as long as, as it takes for the police to think, we better try and arrest
police.
But why would they?
Hold on.
Why would they try and arrest?
Exactly. If
everyone's doing it, they'd just be like, let people do it. We've all got. Everyone needs to.
Right.
Survive.
The police are people as well. The police have got to survive.
Yeah,
I know. So everyone will be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, but how long does that last? How long does the food last as well?
I wouldn't go to a shop, mate. I go to a warehouse.
You've got to be very clever about what you get, but then you can't be fussy either. You just need sustenance, yeah?
Right. So what do you recommend? to anyone out there.
Well,
You knew I was
Toast
good
of
at
the
that.
Island with Antonio Romola.
loads of tins of beans, sausages, tin sausages.
Yeah, get the heaviest thing you can imagine with the least amount of
Yeah,
food
that's a
in
bit
it,
of a pain in the ass.
Is that two
Everyone
things?
would be nicking the trolleys because you'd just be wheeling all your shit around on the trolleys around everywhere, up mountains.
So trolleys are now the
In
biggest,
caves.
the highest commodity. Are they?
well, you need something with wheels. If you haven't got a vehicle, then you're gonna need like some sort
I
of
think there
trolley
are more
with vehicle.
efficient vehicles than trolleys, surely.
Or you get a skateboard. Anything you've got with wheels,
skateboard?
and just
How much
make as something that you can push along.
I'm leaving you in the tundra, mate. If this ever
Yeah.
happens, you're
And
one of my
when you
closest
said
and dearest
beans
friends.
and then you said sausages, is that two
You
separate
guys.
things, or do you mean those like breakfast in a can? that
I'm
you
just
get?
I'm just thinking of what they do, what they do in tins that are going to be like good sustenance, Get a shitload of bread, let it go stale, don't matter, still eat it. Get crusty loaf, innit? you can eat it when it goes hard, it'll give you more sustenance if it gets harder anyway.
Does it?
Well, you can moisten up, tip the
Of
beans
course,
on the
that's
crusty
not
bread.
true.
When the crusty bread goes really hard, tip the beans on the bread, make it moist and eat it. So
But
survival,
you-
mate. See,
yeah.
this is why you wouldn't survive because you're being too fussy.
You would fight. You'd be dead. You'd be dead in a day.
What are you on
You'd be
about?
dead in a fucking day. Dry out the bread. You get more
I
sustenance.
know, you're just
yeah.
eating beans on.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
beans
these
and
just
bread.
beans on toast forever.
I want
Just on your throne of beans.
No way, mate. No way. I'll be going out and picking like salads like that are grown in the wild and shit and eating that.
Where are you going to get that around here?
Well,
Right.
you never
Also-
know. You might find some in Bellevue Park or Beechwood Park.
We're talking about a situation where people are looting
Maybe
food.
some bushes.
How much time do you think you've got to just wander through a meadow and forage for fucking for salad leaves in the burnt wasteland of Newport where the bomb dropped? Mega.
Yeah, where the hell? How are you gonna cook most of this stuff? We have to do fires out in the wild, won't we?
Look at you. Look at you. That's why you wouldn't survive.
Oh no, but
Ken.
hang on, no.
You've
can buy
got
matches.
you've got a
You can
trolley
buy
as a,
matches, and then you can.
you've got a trolley and a skateboard, little stick, so you can fucking oar your way to the shop.
Do you think that we'd have to we'd have to be prepared to fight off other humans that are trying to take our shit? Where would you go to be safe?
Well, partly it depends. on
I'd go into the woods where there's big, strong trees to shelter, sort of if any debris or anything from any explosions or anything or comets or whatever comes over.
If the trees are there, there'll be some buildings left.
The
as well, mate.
the trees will protect me from stuff falling from the sky. Maybe.
Think it's.
Or I'd have to dig a massive hole and just get in it. And then put a rock and then push a rock.
just get one of your mates to bury you there.
Push a rock over it and then get in there
How'd you close the rock?
Well, you have to get underneath it and then just sort of try and drag the rock, push the rock over you once you're in. Get a little torch down there, sleeping bag, beans, sorted.
Living the dream.
Bit of crusty bread.
Bit of crusty bread. Oh, I'm gonna let this go off so it's healthier. Fucking hell. Dipping it in my beans.
He doesn't even nick the tin opener though. He doesn't measure that.
Down in the hole with the rock over you and your torch. Wind up radio. Fuck it. Why not?
And if I haven't got a car, if I haven't got any way of getting around, I'd have to try and capture some sort of deer or cow and just put
to ride
put a
around.
saddle on
Again,
it.
these wild
put a
cows that
saddle-
you think are roaming about the fucking forest.
I can't believe that you thought that I'd be shit.
You'd be surprised what survival sort of instincts kick in.
None for you. None whatsoever.
You basically dug a grave and just got in it. That's what you proposed to do. Just die down here with my mouldy bread and
I can't believe we haven't got a theme tune, man. But it is time for another tale from the market.
Yeah, I got two. I was a little bit tired when I was serving this customer. It was an old man, and obviously I just wasn't concentrating. When you get into the habit of saying stuff to someone you see every day.
Yeah.
So in this situation, I almost forgot that I was serving a customer and thought I was talking to my girlfriend Lauren. It was really weird because I was quite tired. Normally,
were you handing over
normally
some
I
plums,
just
or-
finished serving him, and normally you'd be like, thanks, thanks, goodbye, have a good day, or something like that. And I went, thanks, love you, goodbye. I went, love you, bye. And this guy went, yes, you mate, like that, because I think he heard. It was an old guy. I think he heard what I said, but he wasn't quite sure if he heard right. And I was like,
No,
oh
you'd
god, I
say-
definitely just said that. That's embarrassing.
second guess that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
it was terrible. It just came out. I couldn't believe I said it.
So what are we to take from this?
I think that I don't know what you're to take from it personally.
What am I supposed to think about this? This old man.
But what I
somehow
realised
reminded you of Lauren, and you thought.
No, not at
That
all.
can't be
I think
right.
it's more about like when you get into the habit of repeating something.
Telling old man that you love them. Yeah.
Thanks. See you later. Thanks. Take care. Have a good day. But then what happened was because obviously I was
You
thinking.
say that to Lauren often?
No, to the customers. I mean.
Did you put your pants back
I don't know
on?
what
Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow.
My mind was somewhere else, and I said words that were in my head instead of words that were to do with the situation there and then. And
I think it's nice. I think you're thinking about Lauren so much throughout the day.
It was so weird.
You just always think that you're speaking to
It
her.
was embarrassing.
Lovely.
The other thing, which isn't really a bad thing, well, it's again slightly embarrassing. We've got goose eggs at the shop at the moment.
Oh,
I
yeah?
don't know if you've ever seen a goose egg. They're quite large.
Yeah, they're a good size.
Pretty big. Expensive stuff as well. £2.
Are they nice?
£2 each.
£2 each because geese don't lay that often. So like when they do,
Is
'cause
that
there's
why
not
They're
many,
making loads of money.
They cost more to sell. Very good for omelettes, but a bitch to fry.
Okay.
Anyway, so we've got these goose eggs on the front of the counter, and you'd be surprised how many foreign people don't know what a goose is. Like they probably do know what one is if they saw it, but they don't know it by name.
Right.
So when they say, "Oh, what's that?" You go, "Oh," I say a goose egg. I've had so many customers ask me what a goose is. I've been constantly describing a goose, the animal a goose,
Okay.
to these customers every time they come. And
Demonstrate.
yeah, I will. And the person on the shop across the way is just laughing because she just had to hear all day, like me just trying to describe what a goose looked like. And this is what I'm saying: a goose. Oh, it's like a duck, but bigger, long neck, quite fat, aggressive, chases dogs around. Horrible ducks, horrible big ducks and stuff like that. And they're like, oh right, I see. But I think they're going, yeah. I think they think I mean a swan when I describe it.
That's what I was going to think.
I was like, no, and that's what I've said. A bit like a swan, but chubbier and a bit shorter neck. But yeah, it's really funny trying to describe what a goose is, and everyone like the.
It's not an easy task. You're right.
Totally.
No, it's not. And for anyone, and like if there's a queue of customers and there's like someone behind that customer that knows what a goose looks like, they're just like laughing at me.
Do they attack dogs?
Yeah, man, they're quite.
Geese attack everything, man.
Do
They're
they?
shit. Yeah, my granddad had them on his farm, and I fucking hated them as a kid. I used to love the pigs. I was as happy as they were in their own feces. But the geese, they bite your fucking nuts. They go for soft bits on you. So they go like on purpose for like under your arms here.
Oh, buggers.
Yeah, they identify the soft bit. Your fucking ghoulies, like always, man. Your ass.
And they just come up and attack you.
Yeah, no. If you're on their patch, you know, they're quite sort of territorial. Good thing is, even though they're quite intimidating, you think because birds are when you get to a certain size, like a goose, you think actually they look weighty and stuff. However, you can grab it by its face and just bend its neck backwards. Yeah.
You've done that before.
Or just kick its feet.
I've seen it done before.
Kick its feet from underneath it. Just like kick it.
No. Tiny little. They got good centre of gravity, man. They're
really
difficult
low,
to
isn't
kill,
it?
but
Chuck
yeah.
a rock at it.
They're not called the Weeble bird for no reason, mate.
Could you kick one like a rugby ball or a football?
Definitely. We could throw it like a hammer with the neck again.
Ooh, yeah.
No, I hate them as a kid, mate, and I know it's horrible, and I feel bad now saying it, but like when one was killed, I was like, yeah, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Pretty sure that was the one that like pecked my balls, and one of them went blue. So yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
One of your balls were blue.
Yeah, like I had a bruise on my sack.
Right, okay, not the goose.
No, the goose one, a lovely crispy golden brown. Had some goose. But you're right. Yeah, what one about? Yeah, we never had goose eggs. They don't lay for shit, do they?
Yeah, hardly ever, mate. The worst of the worst thing that's happened to me this week, the most embarrassing thing, I went to A&E because I thought that a bug got into my ear, like a bug flew in my ear, stuck in there, but it wasn't, and it was really fucking embarrassing, right? So basically what happened was, I was in work, and I literally saw the fly come from the corner of my eye. It just went straight in, like a little white fly, just went zip, straight in my ear, and I felt it, and I tried to get it out, and I wasn't sure if I got it out, and I thought, oh God, I hope that fucking fly isn't in my ear. Anyway, I forgot about it, went home that night. I don't know if I was being paranoid or Well, I must have been being paranoid because it turned out there wasn't anything in there. But I fell asleep in front of the TV and I woke up and my ear was ringing, like really badly. There was just like this high pitched sound. It was ringing in my ear, and the first thing I thought was, shit, that fly, it's still fucking in there, fucking bastard, right? So I go to A&E. I have to tell them at the reception desk while I'm there, hiya, I think I've got a bug in my ear. Oh really? Oh, good. That's a strange one. We've never really had that here before. Okay, when do you think this happened? Can you actually feel it moving in there? Can you? I was like, yeah, I think so. I explained about the headphones in my ears and all that sort of shit. This is why it's really embarrassing, yeah? I heard a guy who was, there was a guy, it was really busy in there at the time. Loads of people there were like fucking proper, like, it's serious injuries, like, crying in pain. Like, people moaning about, like, how long they were been waiting for and stuff. And I heard this guy say to his wife, oh, I think he said he's got something stuck in his ear or something like that. So anyway, she said, all right, well, have you seen to immediately? The one behind the desk said. So he sat down, and the guy that just made that comment went straight to the desk, and he was like, how much longer do you think I'll have to be waiting for, love? And she said, oh, it's probably going to be quite a while. And he came back to his wife. He looked really pissed off about the fact that he'd been waiting for ages, and it was going to take longer. Not long after he asked the question, sat down, and everyone in the room was aware that I just arrived and probably heard me say what I was there for. They came and called me in. Antonio Mola, Mr. Antonio Mola, please. Okay, so I go in and I'm thinking to myself, please let there be a bug in my ear, please. First nurse looks in my ear, and to be fair, and at this moment I actually, even though I wanted there to be a bug in my ear, I felt a bit sick because the first nurse that looked in my ear said, I think I can actually see something crawling around in there, right? So she said, hang on, I'll just get the other nurse to come in and check that as well. So she said to the nurse, while the other nurse was looking in there, she said, can you see anything there on the right moving, or is it just me? She was like, the other nurse now, she was looking at me and she went, no, nothing in there. What it is, you've just got a lot of wax, wax in there. I was so embarrassed. I was like, oh God, I'm really sorry I wasted your time. I was really hoping there'd be something in there because I didn't want to waste your time. I was like, there's people out there that look like they need to be seen to really quickly, and I feel terrible now. And she was like, no, don't worry, it didn't take us long anyway. Not to worry at all. You did the right thing by coming and checking, because if there had been something in there, it wouldn't have been nice. It would have been really serious. We would have had to get out straight away.
Mate, I would have.
I was like, I'm so sorry. As soon as I left, I was like, I just did not want to linger in that fucking. I just walked straight past that guy, and he went, "Oh, he's alright, is he?"
That's the sort of thing, though, that they probably make assholes like that wait longer.
Yeah, I should hope so as well.
If it's not massively life-threatening, which you're clearly not, if he's just sat there moaning.
I just felt really stupid.
And like you say, if bugs do get in there and they lay eggs and they can make you deaf, it's going to be some of the least invasive surgery that they're going to do. You had a nurse look, and then another one.
They just they squirt something in there like with a syringe, and it flushes it out and it just comes out.
Sweet.
But I had to go because I'd seen all that shit on the internet and I was convinced. I convinced myself.
I'd have picked up the nearest thing, whatever it may have been, any fucking medical instrument or just something from the vending machine, and just walked out with it in my hand and holding my ear, going, oh, oh no, like half a Mars bar or something, like a what's it?
Yeah. It was basically a little bit like that, a moment on Embarrassing Bodies where that man just got told to like revisit his wiping techniques.
Oh, the best line.
It was a bit like that. She's like, you just need to give it a good clean.
That was amazing. It was so good. There was people on Embarrassing Bodies. We were over at George's, no?
Yeah.
Watching that. Because I think it's something that you can watch in a group. If you watch that on your own, I think there's something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's people coming in, big, like sort of deformed toes, horrible ulcerated corns and that, real painful stuff. And this guy was just like, my ass smells. Yeah. He's like, there's just always this like smell. He wasn't specific about it. He wasn't like, everywhere I go it smells of poo. Like people keep saying when I'm in a room, do you smell poo? And I think it's me. And like when I'm at home, I can smell poo. Like even if I've not had a poo. So it's hard. He didn't say that. He said that there's always like a smell. And then they had a look, proper look.
Yeah.
And just saw a dirty ass.
And their words to him were, I think what we've got here is a situation where you just need to revisit your wiping technique. So embarrassing.
Worried about it because they have the little clip and there's like, Steve's worried about this odour. Could be a lot of things. He could have an infection there. Could be something he's treating with antibiotics, or maybe just some topical cream. And then he's had a look at a shitty bum and gone, what? I'm just saying. You see the London Marathon? That was this weekend just gone.
No.
I didn't watch any of it.
No.
Doesn't interest me.
That's the thing.
watch
But the best time is like 2.5 hours ish. And it's still you watch that race for a good while. The thing is with the London Marathon, they can.
My mum really likes it. I remember when I was a kid, and she always watches it every year.
I think it was on just as a sort of tradition. You were speaking about traditions the last time we were here, Tone. The boat race. I thought of the Oxford versus Cambridge boat race.
Is that the best we've got?
No, I'm just. It was Morris dancing.
Mate,
it was Morris dancing last week.
No, I don't want that to be.
Anyway, all right, okay.
I'd be disappointed if it was a bunch of
toffs rowing.
Yeah, basically, and I realise that's a very.
Do you know there probably are a lot,
but there
probably are a lot. It's just that we're not.
We're struggling to think of them, aren't we?
Yeah, but us three individuals, maybe we don't really follow many traditions. That's probably
the roast dinner was the one that you said.
I think what we established was that we do follow them. It's just they're not necessarily. It's one that's uniquely British, isn't it?
There might be parts of Britain where their traditions are stronger. You know, like up north and stuff.
Do you mean like certain traditions of like people build stone walls and stuff like that?
Yeah, dry stone walls or shin kicking.
Like weird things like chucking like a wheelbarrow of potatoes down a hill and then chasing after them and shit like that.
Amazing. It's as far as we got, man.
I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the cheese rolling in
the cheese rolling, yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
where people get really badly injured. We'll chuck a link up actually to some of that cheese rolling catastrophe.
I like the way it became a lot of potatoes in a wheelbarrow.
Making hats out of turnips and stuff, or I don't know, and then running around the square, the village square. Running around the village square singing like the British national anthem or something.
Maypole, is that British?
I think they are, aren't they?
Yeah, there we go. Mayday. What's that? What's that for?
That cheese rolling thing. There you go.
Yeah. How long does something have to be about for it to be a tradition? Because they surf the 7 ball wave and they've done
50
that for
years?
50 odd years, I think.
What's 50 years though?
Oh no, it's fuck all in it. 50 years.
It is really.
It needs to be more. It needs to be more than like a generation of people, doesn't it? It needs to be like.
Oh yeah.
What about
it needs to be at least 3 generations, surely.
Maybe
we'd only go back to 65 if that was the case. And loads of stuff.
So we're talking like 300 years. That's
well, think about what
300. Massively 300.
What does that? 300 is 3 generations, isn't it? Sort of, almost.
No,
way more.
Way more, mate.
6 generations.
300 years.
Well, if you think the average person lives to 70?
Yeah, that's not what a generation is, is it? It's when you have children. That's when a generation is defined. So you could have.
That's how I see the world, anyway.
No, but if you think about it, if the average
inaccurately, yeah.
Even if you said, all right, it probably evens out that about 20. So it's probably every 20 years if you said a child's born. Think of it that way.
Oh, right, yeah.
It's loads of generations, isn't it?
15.
It's probably every day that a child is born, though.
One born every minute, I've heard.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Every minute, bloody hell, that's a lot of babies. That's a lot of babies.
Babies constantly born.
Yeah, a lot of people die all the time as well, though.
Yeah, they do.
Got to figure that in. Don't get me wrong, more people are born
than die.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's not a very interesting fact, though, is it? Each time a baby is born, someone dies.
It's not a fact at all.
It's just definitely what's happening. Surely.
No.
The amount of people that's in the world, every time someone's born, someone's dying.
Well, no, the amount of people in the world is the population is getting bigger. So that it has to be that there are more people being born.
For every 2 people that dies, a child is born.
No.
Nope.
No, it'd be the other way around. If anything, for every
10 children that are born, a man dies, and 2 women die.
What? So 3 people.
Aren't there more women than men as well?
For every son that is born, 2 women die.
Ridiculously complex system.
I really don't know.
What order would you have put stuff in if you were God, Tone? How would you have started?
I think
there's nothing.
The ground would have been probably the first thing.
Okay.
Because you need the ground to put other stuff on it.
So there's nothing. Think about this. Conceptualize this.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, but hang on a minute. Because I'm just going to think of the planet and how make Earth first.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm going to do it by the book, ain't I then? if you ask me that.
Yeah, if somebody's already done it, why not?
If I didn't have any knowledge of the the universe or where we're living right now, it'd be more of an interesting answer. Because then I'd be like,
no. You're starting with nothing, so you don't have to make us
Why?
human.
Right.
It's a huge question.
Where would I start?
You could have 5 planets.
I don't think I'd bother with the other planets because
Okay.
obviously there's not much going on there and no one's living on them.
But you could make stuff happen on
So
them.
that was a waste of time. If there was a guy making shit. But
you are he, so you can populate those
right,
planets.
no other planets. One planet. In fact, it wouldn't even be round because it's more of a pain in it to get around. So it'd just be flat. It wouldn't even be floating in like space. It'd be like if they were. Well, I'd have to make like I said before. I'd have to make a ground first, and then stick the planet.
What does the ground
on the ground?
lie on?
But the ground is just. The planet is just another layer of floor.
Okay. So what is this is the size of the universe?
I think I'd do less ocean, so it was not as much vast ocean.
Okay.
Because it's again too much to explore there, and it's a shame that they'll never be able to explore every kind of yard of the ocean to know what's under there and stuff and what's living there. So make that smaller. It'd be more like a pond here and there, rather than a sea.
Okay.
So that every town will have a pond,
right,
or something like that. 'Cause it's good to go fishing and stuff.
So we've got one
Good
big
swimming.
ground, towns with ponds.
Yeah.
The Almighty in all of his glory.
Yeah, animals. I think I'd make all animals safe to be around,
Okay.
so humans can live amongst them.
it's a good shout.
I'd make animals so that they can communicate with humans really easily, and humans communicate with animals easily.
Okay.
So there's not much difference between us other than physical skills and mental skills. So they can talk. The animals can talk, but they're not. But they're not like as intelligent. They're just like hello, goodbye.
Ground, towns, pond, remedial animals.
Can you feed me, please? I'm hungry. They're that. But no, you can't have a proper conversation. You can't walk up to a giraffe in the street and go, "Oh, did you read about what happened in China the other day and shit like that?" You can't have a conversation with them.
Okay.
I'm not.
So what's the point of them talking?
But just so they can tell us if they're in pain or if they're hungry and they need feeding.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there'd be giraffes in the streets and stuff. The animals and the humans,
why
they all.
the hell not? I like the idea of
mingle
that. I like the idea of that. I'd make houses, loads of houses for humans to live in.
Oh, so we've got
Trees.
You haven't made humans yet.
Tree houses I'd make. Just loads of them. Big, nice, tall trees so they can be away from harm's way, safe. If wars do break out in hundreds and hundreds of years to come.
Your God.
Would you make humans?
Loads of food, loads of vegetation, natural plantations are just loads of allotments everywhere. In fact, cities will be built surrounded by allotments. So the allotments will just circle the entire town. So that actually you have to get to the ends of the town to get your food and that, bring it back to your house.
You'd make humans though, yeah?
Yeah.
Would they just be the same?
Ooh. No, with wings. So we can get around without vehicles. That'd be awesome. And bigger feet. Bigger feet that make it better for swimming as well, so we can swim and fly. Yeah.
Well, you might want a little swim in the pond.
And I'd make them with. I'd give us thicker skin so we can't bruise and cut as easily. Do you know what I mean? We can't bleed as easily.
Justin was always right. It always comes down to safety and paranoia, doesn't it? Everything's about the animals aren't dangerous anymore, or we got thicker skin.
I think I'd make us taller as well, just go big and strong.
So completely different.
This week, the L0 series maglev train recorded the fastest speed of any train.
Sorry, this week?
Yeah, this week.
Just passed.
This week just passed.
So what would that be then? 200 miles?
375 miles an hour.
Fuck.
Did it run out of track?
No, it's a prototype at the moment. They've built it and they're testing it. It's going to travel an average speed when passengers are on it of over 300 miles an hour. 310 to 315 miles an hour.
I won't get on it.
No?
No, not for me. Not that speed. Not necessary either to get somewhere that fast.
That's the thing. It's in Japan and it's going to get people from Tokyo to Osaka, which is 315 miles, in just over an hour.
So dangerous.
You could get from here to Edinburgh in less than an hour.
I hope there aren't any sharp bends on the track, because that's a bit risky, isn't it? 375 miles an hour. you go to sharp ends.
What do you think?
Maybe it depends what country you got to get to. It depends where you're going. If the landscape requires you to take, a quick sort of sharp bend, like if there's a church or temple that they can't move out of the way, you have to get around it, then you so turn quickly, come to the temple, something like that,
And turn back again and then again because you'd be going in the wrong direction.
You got to go around the church and then carry on straight.
So you wouldn't foresee that in the building plans.
No,
and when stuff does get in the way, Tone, that's why there are tunnels.
Don't they just build tracks? Don't they just build them as they go along and then they just.
I think they check. I think
they look in front of them before they start. Before they get to a ridiculous mountain.
There was that program with.
Do trains go up mountains? Oh, of course they do.
Do trains go up mountains?
Well, most of the train journeys I've been on are flat.
There was that program I remember a few years ago. It was Janet Street Porter, who I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I didn't see it then.
But but it was a really great idea. But it was just like they draw like a line on a map, like from here to here, and it's alright. You've got to walk that line. Like you can't go around anything. You've got to walk the line. So it was, and it was places she'd never been before. So just
much Johnny Cash played.
I don't know. Anything else happened this week?
This week, and I read this today actually, the Wimbledon prize money has been increased by £125,000. Wimbledon, the tennis tournament.
Mm. Yeah, I didn't know that they won money.
Oh yeah, they've always won money.
They win money.
Big time. Yeah, they win a fair amount of money. As I said, this year it's been increased by £125,000.
And is it the prize money in it, not like sponsorship or anything like that?
No, it's the actual prize money. It's the money that you get for winning the singles championship, male or female. There's a big controversy because the prize money was uneven. Women were paid less than men for winning the singles tournament. Turns out, after a bit of maths, it's fairer for women. They earn, on average, more per set they play. They play fewer sets than men, and because of that, they're able to play in mixed doubles and doubles tennis as well. So the chance of winning more money is available. Any which way, how much would you say the winner of Wimbledon gets?
Right, is it in the millions?
How much would you say for winning it? It's been increased by £125,000 this year.
350,000.
The winner of the singles tournament at Wimbledon gets £1.88 million.
Well, what the fuck? Why? It's unnecessary. I don't get this sports thing.
It's a good motivator.
I don't get the money side of sport. I don't get why it has to be, why you have to get paid so much money to play sports.
Because loads of people watch it.
I definitely don't agree with footballers getting what they get.
Yeah, no, you'd be hard pressed to find anybody that does.
It's crazy.
But
just the footballers.
Yeah, just the footballers. They're well into it. Shall we take a quick step back in time? We will get in the Terminator Genesis machine, the time displacement equipment, and delve back to this week in history. This week in 1981, Xerox PARC introduced the computer mouse. Guess it was all on a keyboard before then.
Oh man, it's crazy, isn't it? You hardly ever use a mouse now.
Yeah, we didn't have drag and drop for a long time, you remember?
Yeah, oh yeah, shit.
I think they actually need to make more good use of touchscreen technology as well, because I think they should use it for hygienic purposes as well. Because like when you got to press like codes, buttons on doors to get into certain rooms, and sometimes to get into the toilets in the market, you've got to press the buttons.
Yeah.
Every time I press those buttons, I look at the keypad on there and I think I can just bits of dirt on there, and I think this never gets cleaned. Obviously, it never gets cleaned because it'd be a nightmare to clean between all the buttons. But I can see like bits of food, like bits of meat from where the butchers have gone and put their fingers on it. I can see fucking
bits of meat,
bits of bread from the baker, and all that sort of shit. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck me, this is so unhygienic. And as well as that, the button to flush the toilet. Like, fuck it, why a button? If we had a touchscreen, at least you know that they can easily go over it with a sponge and clean it. But I mean, mate, there's boogers and fucking shit stains on that button in that toilet. It's fucking gross. But yeah, no, for hygienic reasons, they should use touchscreen for like stuff like that.
Yeah, another tale from the market.
Fucking hell, yeah, we had it back there.
Oh, sorry, yeah, well, this is my
no
life
problem.
now.
It's just
you're advertising it well. You say the fruit shop comes out of it really well.
It's disgusting.
But yeah, it's just like a really weird owner who tells old people that he loves them.
Yeah, one of the things I hate about public toilets is even touching the bog roll. right, you know that the last person has touched that bog roll whilst wiping their ass. They haven't washed their hands before touching that bog roll. Yeah. So you've just touched a bog roll that someone else may have touched.
When you rip off the first couple of sheets.
Yeah, exactly. And as well as that, once you've actually washed your hands, you then have to touch the dirty, bloody tap to turn it off again. Just germs everywhere, and you can't avoid it.
There are, Tone, but you're not dead, are you?
Bathrooms should have automatic doors, sensors to flush the toilet, sensors to lift the toilet seats, because I don't think we should even have to touch the toilet seat and lift it up.
Do you have robotic arms that come down and put you in the position as well?
For the taps to bloody... Yeah, in fact, I don't even think we should have to sit on the toilet seat. There shouldn't be water in the toilet, because otherwise you get backsplash. That's the future. Sensors everywhere. Automatic doors. Don't have to touch anything.
There's a lot of that anyway with the taps, I know what you mean. And there's
there is, inexpensive airports,
No, man, in the fucking cinema and stuff.
Well, it's like those hand dryers that you put your hand into, isn't it?
Yeah, well, every public space should invest.
And all you need as well is to make sure that the doors open outwards from, so you could just kick it open. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
I know it's not always that.
Yeah, it's not always that, but they need to. I think this new government now that comes into power, that should be one of their first things they do.
So if someone was pledging that, you'd be voting for them.
Yeah, if they were like, right, first thing we're going to do is clean up all the public, we're going to make all the public toilets more hygienic for people to use. Tell me you're going to do that, I'll do it. Green Party are probably going to do something like that, so I'll go with Green. And that there I made my decision. That's what it's taken for me to make my decision.
Right.
On who to
vote. The assumption that they're going to do what you...
We've still got a bit of This Week in History to go.
Oh, is it still this week?
It is this week. In 1953, Operation Moolah is launched.
Moolah?
Yeah,
money?
Operation Moolah, as in money. During the Korean War, the USA offered $50,000 for the first pilot who defected with a MiG-15 jet fighter. MiGs were given to them by the Russians, and they wanted to have it to prove the active involvement of Russia in that war, in the Korean War, as in allied with North Korea. And because they were just shit up planes as well. They wanted a tactical advantage by knowing how they worked. So yeah, they offered a $50,000 reward for anybody who did that. They dropped loads of propaganda, loads of leaflets, and loads of just straight up adverts for it. Cool. The eventual guy who did defect, Nom Kam Suk, did so not because of the financial reward. He just defected, and then he explained later on that the reward was ineffectual against Korean pilots because they thought it was definitely a trick. Nobody was going to give us £50,000 just for flying over a border. So he said the money wouldn't have been the motivator at all. 50 grand was the offer, but when you landed, you were guaranteed 100 grand. So it's a genuine thing as well. It wasn't a trick. That's the point, and you'd be taken care of for life.
Wow. And no one did it. No one ever did it.
Not on purpose, and not because of the cash.
But that chap, he was sorted out. They followed through on all
they certainly did. But his defection led to 5 of his fellow pilots being executed. This week in 2014, Pope John the 23rd and Pope John Paul II are canonised. These are the first papal canonisations since 1954. We're going to play around with how many popes before we get to Cancellatory Salon.
Of course.
But, in order to be canonised, to be made a saint, you have to have 2 confirmed miracles.
Yes.
Right.
Pope John Paul II, he was the one I looked up, his first one was curing a French nun of Parkinson's disease.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Nor do I.
I don't believe that she had Parkinson's disease.
Did he kill her? Did he murder her? Or anything? Like, when I was cured her of the Parkinson's, she's not suffering from that anymore.
There was a brilliant one. And his second one wasn't listed. It was just said it was confirmed by Pope Francis last year.
Oh, he knew about it. He saw it. He was there when it happened.
That's right. Yeah. It happened. There was a brilliant one, right? It was on an episode of QI. I'm not even sure of the saint, but because it had to be 2 miracles, there was one saint who was canonised because he really wanted some herring on his deathbed, and they couldn't get any herring. They were like, "Oh no, there's nothing. There's no herring around. Get him some whitebait or something like that. It's fine. He's quite ill." And he ate it, and he said, "Oh, this is the best herring I've ever had." And that was the second miracle that he performed. The miracle of the herring in the gob. Kind of diminishes the title, doesn't it, of saint? If that's how it's. You have to look for them. If it's not it's not miraculous. If you have to dig through stuff to look at it.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, but
So it was like Pope John Paul II when he could fly, and of course the ability to make hot cross buns with his left hand, just by magic. No ingredients, nothing.
no ingredients.
That's right. Just from nothing.
I love the idea.
So he had a
of,
hot cross
like,
bun dispenser in his hand.
these
Quite right. If you knew nothing about it, if you just were plonked on the earth fresh and didn't know anything, and then just spoke to a Catholic priest about what it is you do, you'd have all of your faculties and you'd be aware of your surroundings, but just learning it for the first time, not knowing any of the history, just going, just go in that box. Every time you feel like that sense of guilt, just go in that box and talk to somebody, and I'll tell you some words to say and you'll feel better. Also eat this wafer that turns into the body of a 2,000-year-old Jew. I don't think he'd get very far in a thinking man's world. Hero of the week goes to the entire football team of Bournemouth Town, who are securing their place in the Premier League after 125 years of being a football club.
Oh my god.
Sorry, I'm laughing because of something else.
What's that?
What were we talking about last night? Was his name the goalkeeper with the...
Oh yeah, shit!
I thought you were going to go him, and I was going, no, Dan, no, not a Nazi.
No, it's true enough, yeah.
What is it?
Bert Troutman is his name.
Yeah.
And he was playing for Man City in an FA Cup final, and he broke his neck 17 minutes before the end of the match, and he carried on playing. And then it was noted that there was a distinct crick in his neck as he collected his winner's medal.
Yeah. No, there's like footage of him. He like touches his neck and stuff.
Yeah.
Isn't it? He's
Yeah.
like, oh,
What?
you know.
But
So, no, he thinks he's just hurt his neck. He didn't realise it's broken, obviously. But
I'm going to do a proper write-up and a good bio, because it's easy enough to rip off. His story is brilliant. Terrible soldier turned injured goalkeeper.
yeah.
It's brilliant. And I'll
Turned
do
like international manager of.
That's right.
He's a
The
genius.
teams he managed are great, but I'll do it next week, man, because it's getting on a bit.
Sorry.
Bert Troutman, legend, hero of the week.
Sorry, mate. I genuinely thought.
No,
it was-
not at all. Hero of next week, and he'll have his own segment. But Bournemouth Town, they started the 2008-2009 season on minus 17 points, because they can give you minus points if you go into administration, if your team runs out of money, if you can't pay people. Between then, and now, they've secured promotion to the Premier League. So back to Sport Town and back to a complete waste of money. But good on Bournemouth. Heroes of the week.
I like a story like that. That's the sort of thing that, like, no, someone's making a film of that already.
They.
Mm.
Well, maybe.
Right.
But probably find they'd have to get it done quick, because you don't want them. What if they get up to the Premier and they're like rubbish,
Yeah.
and they get trounced all the time? It's not. No one's gonna want to see that film.
We had our first shit film sent in, all the way from Australia. Cheers, Kat. Much love.
What was it?
It is the 1989 Mark Hamill movie Slipstream, and I've got a little synopsis for you here,
Oh god.
courtesy of the Internet Movie Database. In the future, natural disasters, earthquakes, floods, etc., have ravaged the earth, leaving it as a world where pockets of communities live within canyons, whilst a violent wind known as the slipstream rules the earth, and the only means of transport are aeroplanes. Matt Owens is a daredevil adventurer who kidnaps Byron, a fugitive wanted for murder, who is the prisoner of law officer William Tasker, so that he can claim the bounty for himself. Travelling across the windswept landscape, Matt and Byron are pursued by Will and his partner Belitsky. Matt finds Byron isn't what he appears to be and learns Byron is actually an android who murdered his creator, and they form a friendship as they travel from community to community and encounter pockets of strange societies that live beyond the slipstream.
I thought of one as well.
It
Oh,
sounds
great.
fucking-
It's a film. I haven't seen the whole film. It's a movie called Shoot 'Em Up with
Not-
Clive Owen and
Oh no.
what's his name? Paul. What's his name?
Paul Giamatti.
Yeah. Paul Giamatti, the guy from American Splendor. Yeah?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's just
Rhino.
very, it just the style. I just couldn't. It's hard to describe. I'll find it and we'll watch the first.
Well,
few
yeah,
minutes again, you can see.
we'll get a feel for it, because I can't. You know,
Slipstream. Will we even be able to find a copy of that?
definitely, man, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon. It'll be fine. We'll give it a watch. It's fine as well if you haven't watched these movies all the way through. Don't be one of those people who's like, oh man, you haven't watched it all the way through, you can't judge it. You can. If it's that shit that you want to turn it off,
Yeah.
then turn it off.
Exactly.
Simple as. Don't waste your time.
Yeah, I did that with Shoot 'Em Up. It was absolute shit. Sorry, I've taken away too much time already on that.
Not a problem, mate. You can take up some more of our time as we enter last bit of the show, Ken's literary salon.
Okay, I don't think we'll be here long because it was quite dark. reading.
It's alright, it's a long recording.
Right, okay. I read a book, Tom, you'd be interested in, called Cruel Britannia, A Secret History of Torture.
Ooh, that sounds good.
By a gentleman called Ian Cobain, and it was about, obviously, by the time you guess, Cruel Britannia, it's about Britain's involvement in secret sort of torture programs from the Second World War. Yeah, during the Second World War, right through the Cold War, the sort of use of sort of torture tactics, stress tactics in Northern Ireland. Yeah, right up to the War on Terror. Mm. It was fascinating, like some of the stuff that they got up to. Not so much the horrific stuff that they were doing to people, but the sort of political wrangling and manoeuvring.
You told me about the definition of torture being bandied about and redefined to make sure that, especially in America, whose constitution forbids cruel and unusual punishment, for instance, and of course the Geneva Convention.
But it is essentially what you ended up with was like high level lawyers in for the CIA and the army and stuff in America, sort of scrambling, looking for precedents and ways to define stuff. So then the most famous one I think was Donald Rumsfeld saying that the Abu Ghraib photographs that came out, they showed abuse, which technically isn't torture. And it was things like that, like they're trying to picture that, like, well, torture means actual, significant harm, that leads to organ failure or possibly even death. So it was like they tried to picture that torture only had the worst possible outcomes, so that anything slightly less than death wasn't torture. It was I can't remember the term.
Enhanced interrogation.
There's a famous thing he quotes in it of George Bush. Someone asked him sometime afterwards, do you still stand by the decision to sort of use waterboarding on people as a sort of authorise the use of that? And he said, damn right.
Mm-hmm. You know what waterboarding is, Tony?
No. What is that?
It's a form of torture whereby you're placed horizontally and a towel placed held tight over your mouth and nose.
It simulates drowning.
And it is drowning, really.
I've seen that, and then they soak the rag with water.
Yeah, but then they just tip water slowly because you can't breathe, and then when you do manage to get some air and you're only ever breathing in the water. Christopher Hitchens was waterboarded for an article I think he wrote for Vanity Fair, so I'll chuck a link up to that. It's not very pleasant, but I think it fits in nicely with the book that you read.
Yeah.
Not that anything fits in nicely with regards to torture. The way
it wasn't very nice, but
incredible,
it was,
like you say, the political wrangling of it.
Yeah, because one of the interesting things is in the 1970s in Britain there was a bit of an outcry of sort of what they were doing in Northern Ireland, and so they commissioned there was a sort of set of guidelines on what would come to be known as sort of enhanced interrogation, but it wasn't at the time. They were called the 5 techniques. It was certain things you do, positions, noise, as you use a bit of white noise and things. The Ted Heath's government, they did it. They wrote the report in 2 parts, and so part 1 was about what you sort of outlined, sort of a rough framework for what you could do, and then part 2 detailed how they actually deployed it and actually used historical examples. But they never published part 2. It was just always kept in a draft form. You see what I mean? So part 1 is a proper legal document essentially published by the government, but the second part was never published, it's left in draft form, and that's why it's a secret. And that's the bit that was and it's their ideas like that of how they did things like this to get around admitting what they were doing basically.
Yeah, with the draft form you can always say that it's temporary. And
exactly.
You're between it. Yeah, obviously it needs tweaking and we're in the process of it, that's why it's a draft.
Very, very secret,
Tell you what, man.
Jack Straw didn't come out very well either. Quite a few of them didn't, Blair obviously, Miller Band, a bit dodgy, but Jack Straw, just a barefaced lying bastard.
Yeah, quite.
I've bought a copy. I bought a book which has got 2 screenplays by Jeanette Winterson in it.
Very nice.
The screenplay for her own adaptation of Oranges Are Not the Only Fruit, which I read a couple of weeks ago. We didn't talk about, and it's got another one in there, TV thing she wrote called I can't remember. It's not History of Aviation. Great Moments in Aviation or something like that. It's called. But yeah, I'm gonna read that. I bought complete works of Sarah Kane. I might dig through that. I'm reading.
Maybe.
I'm also reading Cities of the Red Night by William Burroughs. I read about 100 pages of White Teeth by Zadie Smith, who I've never read. But David in work, who listens to this.
Yep.
So, hello to David.
Go on, David.
Shout out to Mr. McNeil.
Yes.
He says that she is the best British writer, like currently writing. Zadie Smith.
High praise indeed.
Yeah, and I got a copy of White Teeth, her first novel, which I really should have read. It's 15 years old, and I remember it being a big deal when it was published, and I just never ever read it. But I got a copy in the market for £1. See, it all comes back around to the market.
Yeah, the market's
the centre, the heart of Newport.
From the Troutmark guy. Yeah, I got it there. So, but it's quite a thick novel, so that's why I read several simultaneously. See, because the big novels I might not get through it in a week, whereas you're like shorter novels, like Jeanette Winterson's, I can read in.
I was going to say, we'll give it a double Winterson feature next week.
Yeah, sure.
With the book that, the 2 screenplays that you're reading, and of course,
and I'll reference
fruit. Yeah.
Oranges are not the only fruit. Yeah.
Banging. All right. Well, I'd like to thank my co-participants for this week once again, Kenneth Trainer.
Thank you, Dan.
Antonio Romola.
Thanks, mate.
Remember to get in touch. Email us thelast7podcast@gmail.com. Not one of these done today. Or follow us on Twitter @thelast7. Good night. Wait.
I'm knackered.
I know. I'm really tired.